bit of like a toe to toe fight, I should say. A toe to toe fight in the sense that today it is not a very obvious win. If you don't know the technique or the idea, you will not be able to win with the black easily. I mean, you can win with mutual blunders and brute force, but on a personal level, I saw many of the games were won by white as well today, and that should not happen ideally. But in minor piece versus rook, it generally based on the position we get the advantages or even have the chance to hold here. Yesterday, someone asked me that how to hold the queen versus rook. It is not practically possible to hold the queen versus rook, but here under low time and low stress, I mean high stress and low time, we can create some chances with white and hope that our opponent just blunders. But I am going to show you a quick method on how to think in these positions when you are having low time at the same time win. Okay, so this is a sample position which I took from one of my offline games. It was, I think, a blitz tournament in February. I played. I did not write, but it was a similar kind of position, and I remember that I won against like 1350 or something. So this was the position, and I was playing black here. So let's see what to do now. Here, if you see the position carefully, white has h3, g2, f2, e4, d3, b4, and a5, followed by bishop and king, obviously. Bishop is on b3. Focus on just one second. Yeah, sorry for that. The bishop's position is on b3 here. Instead, if the bishop would have been, let's say, on c4 here, if the bishop is on here, then it's difficult to break through against this uh, mass chain of pawns. But since the bishop is on b3, the task of black rook is pretty much simplified here. Can anyone find the first move that has to be played by black here? First move. Just say it fast, please. Yeah, rook c1 is check. Any other move you want to go for? Anyone? Hello? Just answer me fastly because we don't have anything to say. Rook c3. Yeah, rook c3 is another good choice. Okay. Okay. So major moves that come to our mind are rook c3 and rook c1 check. Let's see both of them. Rook c3. Now imagine that I am playing white here. Okay. So I am seeing in the low time that, I mean, let's say we have 30 seconds each, and I am having 30 seconds. I'm seeing immediately both of them are attacked, and therefore I have only one way to, actually two ways, but I have only one realistic way to save this, which is to play bishop c4 here, because I another move is to play bishop c2, but again it drops the bishop. That's not a point at all. So bishop c4 defends this d3 pawn, as well as this d3 pawn in turn defends the bishop. So here white's position is kind of locked, and rook c3 does not achieve much. Okay, we can continue with rook c1, king h2, only move, and then either rook b1, where white can play b5, a b5. I mean, b5 is the only option, but okay, b5. It is not good to play with the black. I mean, play with the white pieces. So this pawn is eventually getting hit, or you can just play one more waiting move like rook c2, and after let's say king g3, you come rook b2 and win the b pawn. That was the main idea. And once you win the b pawn, you can also win the a pawn. For example, let's say I play a very random move f4. You take this, f takes e5, d takes e5, and let me play any random move like king g4. Then rook a4, and bishop d5 here. White might attack a pawn, so don't worry about it. You have passed a pawn as well. So just play rook takes a5, bishop takes b7, and here there are two possibilities: either to go rook a3, where we are directly attacking this pawn, but obviously this pawn will also go, or to play rook a2, where we are attacking the g2 pawn, providing past a pawn and guiding it to the promotion square. Ideally, white would want to play bishop d5 here to attack this pawn, or you know put some threat on the square. But if we keep the rook on the second rank, but mind it, this is the second rank. If we keep this rook anywhere in the second rank and manage to get our pawn from a6, a5, a4, a3, and a2, bishop has to forcefully capture this pawn, and then we are capturing with the rook. Okay. For example, rook a2 here I played, then maybe king f3, and if I play a5, bishop d5, and now what we have to do is we have to just sit back and relax, play rook b2. Keep this rook on the b file so that it would guide this a pawn to the promotion square eventually. And when it comes to a2, bishop has to sacrifice itself, and then it's like a regular rook endgame where we are having a piece up, and we would just win it pretty easily. Okay, so for example, g4, a4, h4, a3, g5, a2, and now white has to give up this bishop. Then rook takes a2, and I think here you can manage the win pretty easily. King g4 and then rook d2. Yeah, this is pretty much winnable. And rook h3. I will just play the entire line. You can see it afterwards. Rook takes e4, rook f4, and finally you can play h5 here. Now, why I've played h5 is I just wanted to show you a special rule here, which is known as n%, or n en passant, whatever you call it. Here, black has played two moves. You may think, if you know about the rules of pawn, that pawns only capture diagonally, like this. But there is a special rule called n%, where if we play this pawn two moves, and there is a white pawn also here. I mean, it happens with both the colors as well. If the black pawn is there on b4 or any fourth rank square, and the white moves two squares adjacent to it, then the pawn can capture it. So n% is possible here. That's why I wanted to play h5 and show it to you. Okay, so also this is possible on f5 as well. Okay, this rule is pretty much applicable to every color and every adjacent rank. That's what you have to remember. This is known as n%, and now you can finish it off with a rook mate, or even if you're finding a rook mate a little bit harder, then h7, h5, h4, h3, h2, h1 equals to queen. That is promotion. I hope you guys know about promotion, right? Any of you doesn't know promotion, please raise your hand. Any of you who are new or do not know about promotion, please raise your hand. I will show you to you direct. Uh, okay, Tutu doesn't know about promotion. Means we promote to a queen, knight, bishop, or rook. You don't know about it, Tutu? Okay, sure. Anyone else? Anyone else doesn't know about promotion? Okay, just let me show it to you. King d3. Acha. Okay, okay. So you all know how to checkmate from here, right? Do I need to cover till the checkmate? Please tell me yes or no in the chat. Okay, Pranav knows it. Shubham, okay, fine. Anybody new? Anybody wants to know? Please, I will just complete it within like 1 minute or so. That's it. I will, because we have to discuss the main move here. Please reply quickly. Do you want or not? ठीक है, आप कर लोगे इसका मतलब. There is no issues, I guess. Okay. So here, what we have covered the rook c3 variation. I will send the chapter through WhatsApp as well as email. Please download it through a PGN viewer. Like analyze your app comes in the phone if you are using phone, or you can just copy paste the same by going to leeches.org tools, and here you can use analysis board, or here you can paste the PGN chapter. For example, I downloaded it. I'll just show it to you. For example, this is a chapter. Okay, so this chapter I have a default PGN viewer app, so I it is like opening from here. But if you want the link, or like, just one sec, yeah, import PGN. When you have to, just 1 minute. See, I think it's not happening right now. I'll just right. I will just send it here. This share chat PG, copy PG. This needs to be pasted here and yep, like this. I will share this copy of PGN as well as chapter as well. You keep an app like here I have used PGN Viewer, which is inbuilt in Windows, and there is also another app known as Chess Forge. You can use it as well. So, okay. So let's cover the main move, which is Rook C1 check, as told by I guess Shubham. Yes. Now, what does Rook C1 achieve directly? Rook C3 was not bad. It was a good move. It was actually a great move. Doesn't spoil any chance of your win. But why Rook C1 is more precise is, remember this rule in general as well. When you have low time, that is like in our simulations, we have 30 seconds. You may have less, you may have more, but whenever you have low time, focus on giving checks. Okay, this is a general rule, doesn't apply always, but in this case, we can apply this pretty fantastically. Why? Because if we give this check, okay, we are giving this check and we have a lower time, and since we are getting an increment, we can check directly without even thinking, and we are just getting a 2 second increment after that. Okay, so white also has doesn't have to think anything about it. King h2. Now you can play rook b1 here directly, and rook b1 attacks this bishop, but more importantly attacks the pawn that is behind the bishop. That's the main point. And we have reached the same position as rook c3. If you see bishop c4, rook c1, king h2, and rook b1, point is same. But the a6 pawn is there, therefore this b5 cannot move forward. If this a6 pawn was on a7, for example, this pawn you are seeing this right, it is on a file sixth position. I mean sixth rank. Okay, imagine that this a pawn was on a7, and we have played this line rook c3, bishop c4, rook c1, king h2, and then rook b1. Imagine that this pawn here on a6 is on a7. Now white can actually play b5. That was the main point. But if we play rook c1 directly, then king h2 and rook b1, Bishop has to force itself. This is known as a tempo, giving a tempo to your opponent, or giving a forced threat to the opponent where they have to react irrespective of any situation. And if they don't react, they are losing a more valuable piece that is on the board. If you see, pawn only carries a value of 1 point, and bishop carries a value of 3, and rook carries a value of 5, obviously. So we have to protect the bishop here. And now we have saved like when rook b1 was played, it was white to move. Now rook b1, rook is on b1, but if you see the difference, now it's black to move, and black will happily grab this pawn. Okay, that was the major thing here. A more optimistic way of playing for white is going for this counter attack, bishop d5. But we know it doesn't work because rook takes b4 not only grabs the black pawn, oh sorry, white pawn on b4, but also provides a support on b7. Okay, so bishop d5 doesn't work anyway, and white has lost a pawn. Then what will we? Then what will we do? We will as black play rook b4. No, we will not play rook b4, rook b5 unless he plays bishop c4. I mean, if he plays bishop c4, we should not blunder by playing this. That's what I wanted to tell. We have to play, like, let's say any other move other than bishop c4, we can literally play rook b5. Or if he goes bishop c4, then we can play rook a4. Okay, it's just you have to just tune up yourself, and whenever you have time, just focus on the piece that is moving. That's it. Only focus on one piece, because you are in a materially up position. You are potentially not going to lose this anyway unless you make a like big huge blunder of like forking the king and the rook. That's not gonna happen right now. So we also have, if you notice that white only has a limited option. It's not like we are having queen, bishop, rook, and then a knight as well, and then we have to decide. That no, that's completed in the middle part. हाँ मतलब यार बट पॉइंट इज इतना दूर जाना ही क्यों है, जब करना है तो परफेक्टली कर लो ना. दैट वाज द मेन पॉइंट आई वांट टू कन्वे. I mean, it's not perfect. I am also not teaching perfectly, but the speed chess trick is universal. That's what I wanted to tell. Okay. So, if any other move, just play rook b5. Why rook b5? Why not rook a4? Can anyone tell me? Just ping it in the chat or unmute yourself. Why not rook a4 and why rook b5? Please do it quickly. Which pawn? Be specific, please. Oh, okay. B7. B7. Run off by b7. Okay. So, brother, wait. Sorry for the disturbance. Rook b4. Actually, rook a4 is a mistake because it loses the pawn on b7. Correct. Correctly stated by all of you. So rook b5. And when white plays bishop c4 instead of king c3, now the control on b7 is lost and rook a4 is possible. That's it. Okay. So bishop d5. Let's say king g3 is played. Now we play rook b5. Grab this a pawn. Okay. Obviously, we will lose the b7 pawn, but as we have seen, we will just post the rook to a2 or anywhere to a1 as well, and then calmly promote this pawn, waiting for the final judgment resignation of white. Okay, so it's just a formality now. H4, H5. We are just not allowing white to get any counterplay on the king side as well. His pieces are entirely trapped. let's say f4, you don't take this because we are, this is a subtle point, please try to understand those who don't know it. Okay, some players do know it, so fine for them, but this is a subtle point. You can grab this, no problem, you are at an advantage. But my personal suggestion is, why to grab it? Because e5, if we just go in a depth, a little bit of depth, e5 represents control on f4 as well as d4 square. If on e5, the pawn which is on e5, it is not only staying there, but it is actually doing the job of controlling these two squares. Controlling means if we play f4, then the pawn can capture it. No, why can it? Someone is joining. Okay. Danish, please be on time, yeah. We are about to close the session. Okay. What I was explaining is this a this e pawn can capture the f pawn. Okay. So if it can capture, then we say that this pawn controls the squares. Okay. For example, if you play d4, pawn can capture. This is known as pawn's control. So what I was saying is, if we play f4, white plays f4, don't capture this. Okay, let white capture your pawn on e5 so that you could reinforce the control on both these squares to recapture on e5. Okay, I hope you understood this. Maybe a little bit technical, but chess can be improved only by understanding these nuances. That's the only point. Did you understand this? Please give a thumbs up. If not, I will explain it again. Control point. Okay? Anyone who does not understand it, control. Okay? Okay. So what I suggest is, don't capture it. Even though capturing is not bad. Okay? But the point is king has become a little bit active. Little bit. For example, king f6. Now white can play d4. And you see a previous move, white was unable to play d4 at all because we had a control. Okay, so that's the main motto here. We have to not let go of any control. Okay, so f4. Here the best move for black is f5. Counter attack on the center. Now white cannot take this because rook can take the bishop. Okay, this was the main idea why we played f5. But here another possibility is white literally is running out of moves here, and we can play king f3, king f6. White has played king f3 to support this e4 pawn. We have played king f6, and if you see, this is known as a position of zugzwang, where white only has one legitimate move, and if we either take this or play this anywhere here, it's going to be a zugzwang position, and white has to lose something now. So rook takes a5, bishop takes b7. I would suggest to play rook a2 here. Why not rook a3? Rook a3 भी सही है, no problem. But the point is, white can just play king e3 or even king e2. Okay, but what does rook a2 achieve here? Well, you can see that king is only confined to one square, that is e3, and completely cut off from going anywhere on the backside. So this king is as equal to dead. I mean, we are just up an exchange. You can see the material advantage here. We are having just 3 points of exchange, but positionally, this position is, computer would now start to say like -9 or -10, or even a checkmate is on the cards. I'll just show you once. It's showing -5, -6 actually. So -6 means black is equivalent to having a two minor pieces up. Okay, so this pawn is going to promote, this piece has to go, and thereafter it's like checkmate. Okay, same procedure. Now white, let's say, totters around here and there with king e3. We can just calmly push this pawn. Okay, d4 is a cheeky attempt by white. We should not, rush by capturing this pawn. As I told, control is very very important. So just play rook a3 check. This is known as an intermezzo or an intermediate move in a simple term. What white does is he will now lose this pawn. Why? Because king has to run back now to protect this g3 pawn. Was it understandable why we have to play an intermediate move here? Okay, you can take this d4 pawn, fine, but if we have the chance to grab the pawn, we have to just do the same. Okay, so rook a3. This is known as an intermezzo. Let me just comment it out. Oh, sorry, intermezzo. Okay, or intermediate move. Okay, this is an intermediate move, and king has to rush back. We have to play e d4, and you see, completely hopeless position for white. King f5 or gf5, both are okay, but king is moving forward. He has the opportunity to go forward. He will just go forward. That's it. Bishop c8, a couple of checks here and there. Okay, bishop b7. Just don't go aage, just play d5. Don't go forward, play d5, block the checks. You have three ways of controlling a check: capture the piece if possible, block the check, or move the king forward in a case of a single check. Okay, I hope you remember or you know this all. Okay, so I guess we have covered this. Bishop c4. I wanted to play rook a4 here, and we are getting this. So here, king g3, rook b5. We have covered this as well. And another move. These are just sub variations. You can see it. And okay, now d4, rook a3, e d4, e f5, king f5, bishop c8, and bishop e7, d5. Okay, now black has three passed pawns. Okay, and anybody can promote first, or you can just finish it off as quickly as possible. Remember that you should not make like one queen, two queens, or three queens, or four queens. Not needed at all, because we are in an arena format and we are limited by time. I mean, here also, and many of you, I expect that many of you will play Chess Super League as well. Chess Super League is organized by Shahmat, if any of you don't know it, and we will be conducting the selection trials as well. Format is arena, it is not Swiss. You have to complete the games as soon as possible. So don't indulge in any nonsense. I mean, if I am allowed to say it, that I will make one queen or two queen or three queen or four queen. Don't do that, please. Checkmate your opponent as soon as possible and move on to the next game. Complete it. That is the main objective of arena, and many of the players do this for fun, but they don't realize the fact that it jeopardizes their chances of winning maximum games. That's it. So d5. Now white is like in a sorry state, and we can just play rook a2. Optimization is the key, guys. King f3. We are not going for the promotion. We have to just finish it off here and here itself. Okay. So bishop b7. King takes g3. It's a mating threat. White has to move. Don't grab this pawn. Play something like d3 even is possible. Bishop d5 and rook b2 here. Okay, bishop will just move forward and back, and just play a4. If bishop g6, a3, bishop d3, a2, and here a1 queen is checkmate. I mean, it's not checkmate yet. Bishop a1, and that's a checkmate. Okay, this was the shorter route, and every move from here on, you can just pre-move it. Do not second even a millisecond on it. I mean, you should not even waste a single second on this, because king is on the last rank. It cannot be protected at all. Just barge in with the king, and if he plays bishop here, let's say, or you can just play even d3 as well, no issues. Because but problem is, you just blunder this fork as well. So don't play d3, king g3, and king f1 to avoid mate. Here we can also play rook h2, another shorter way. Bishop d5 d3, king e1, or okay. So here we can blow with a pawn. Anyway, it's going to be stopped, and bishop has to sacrifice itself for the rook, and it's a mate. Okay, and just make don't sacrifice your rooks unnecessarily here or anywhere. Don't blunder them. Don't sacrifice them. It's a humble request. You have to just play on as much as possible and complete the game as soon as possible. And from here on, every move has to be a pre-move. I could have shown you if I had an opponent, but since I'm playing with myself and explaining it also, I'm not able to show this efficiently, that how we have to just pre-move again and again and again. Okay, it's so you may think that it is sounding easy, or he's just like blabbering here and there, but no, every move has to be a pre-move here. Bishop d5, for example, it's just checkmate. Okay, or even you have to just think for 1 second. That's it. These things do not even deserve 1 second. Okay, king f1, just play rook h2, rook f2, anything that is on the mind, because you can't lose this. That's the main motto. d3, bishop d5, d2, or okay. So here maybe king f4 and king c2, if it goes king e3. Okay, so anything like rook c1 and just queen. Okay, this is, I mean, this may be a drag out, but queen d4, king c2, rook f2, and this is a check. Okay, we have not allowed the king to escape. He has come a little bit more far, but at the end, he has to go back and get the checkmate done. I hope you understood this. Any questions? Anybody, any questions? Okay. I will ask someone, because the next position is rook versus knight tomorrow. Okay. Is it possible to win as white? With fortune, yes. And if you have joined today's tournament, many of you have lost as black here. And this is one of the most even games you can see. I mean, it's not even. Bishop versus rook is always uneven. But white at least has some chances. Even if Magnus is playing here, I'm pretty sure I can win this. So it's like, okay, even if Endgame God is playing, we can just win this pretty easily. Okay. But to answer your question quite seriously, yes, we can win this, but we need a lot of lady luck for it. Okay. Ah, bhai. Everyone wants to improve, right? We cannot be cruel and go for like incremental, non-incremental thing. Okay. So our session is done for today. Any questions? Any questions, please? You have to just remember 2 points here. Go for rook c1. I will just summarize it for you. Go for the most forcing move, rook c1. Okay, most forcing continuation. That's rook c1. And rook c1, always forcing continuation are checks or even double checks or a discovered attack or something like that. Okay, what they do is they tend to generate an immediate response on the part of opponent. So rook c1, rook b1 again an immediate threat, bishop c4 and rook b4. First step is achieved. Okay, and the second step is to go for pawn breaks, capture the pawns, promote your pawns as soon as possible, and that's it. The piece has to surrender itself, and it's just checkmate after that. And I in between I showed you when the opponent played like f4 here. Where is it? Yeah, f4. We should not surrender the control. Okay, remember this very carefully, because if we surrender control, like one person asked me that how can we win? If black surrenders the control, you can win it. You have chances to create counterplay. Your king becomes active. Okay, sir. I think who asked? Yeah, Shashank. Shashank asked this. Your king has become little bit active here. I won't say that black is losing. Black is completely winning, but at least you have a chance to force something off the board. Okay, you can just push the g pawn or push something like d4, e5, and create some playing chances. You need a lot of luck for it, but ultimately, if black plays perfectly, this can be a losing endgame for white. This must be a losing endgame. And if you encounter this, please look for the forcing move and do not surrender the control of pieces, especially pawns, because they are the endgame warriors actually. Okay, so after that, the final thing was to not drag along. Again, this is a main rook a2 is the control point, and we should not drag along. Finish it as much as possible, as soon as possible, and as quickly as possible. Okay. So I hope you understood today's topic and enjoyed. I mean, not enjoyed, but okay. I hope you understood something and you will apply it. Guys, the direct application of all these concepts will come in handy for the selection tournament. I am repeatedly telling you, selection of Nilgiri House, I hope it is going to be very tough this time for me as well. Because even though I am here teaching, but the middle game thing is a bit weak for me. Not sarcastically saying this, it will be a tough, and I will also compete there. It's like, if you have heard, the many of the instructors teach CAT material. CAT is an exam for an MBA coaching, if you know MBA institutes, and many of the institutes attempt CAT, and the teachers compete with the students, and the teachers score 100 percentile, and that due to that, like, the entire cutoff goes up, you know. So this is like this. Okay, so CSL would be selections for CSL would be on 14th of September. We are considering a time of night. I mean, after the end game session, 10 p.m. most probably, but we will decide it and tell it to you, or even would ask your references or any preference regarding internships, because many of you do internships, and some of you have hackathon contests on Saturday as well, 8 to 9 or something like that, 9 to 10, whatever. I think 10 p.m. should suit, and we are hoping for a minimum participation of 50 people, because 16 is the minimum registration, I mean minimum spot that is vacant there. And we are planning to have a full team of 20 guys, but 16 will be in the squad and 4 will be in the reserves. If any of the person from squad withdraws accidentally or due to any other work, we will include you there. So potentially 20. And with regards to spot, official spot will be 16 persons, but 20 is the number that I'm planning, and I hope all of you join it. Use this endgame skill knowledge in there and win a lot of games there. If you have any questions, please tell me. Otherwise, we can just close it for today. I think we have exceeded the time a little bit. Sorry for that. But I hope you would have learned it, learned some new things, or polished some existing things, whatever it is. Okay. My pleasure, bro. Okay. Anything, anyone else? Anything, anyone else, please? Just ask. आप लोग कुछ बोलते ही नहीं हो यार. You guys have to say something ना, मतलब unmute नहीं कर पाते हो. What is the issue? Can I just know? Okay, no issues, no issues, no issues. You are understanding it. That's fine. So let me stop the recording now. Yeah, stop recording.